Hey folks, Multiclassic Vlogs here, and this is my first video game pickup video of sorts. Basically, as you guys know, and of course I haven't even uploaded them since as of time I'm recording this, I posted videos where I share my collections of video games that I currently had in the month of March on all my different consoles. But I'm still collecting games as time goes on, and for the first time today, I was able to buy some retro games again, despite the fact that Wisconsin's still on lockdown for the next month or so. They kind of eased up the restrictions on like smaller businesses, like less essential businesses, to where they can do curbside pickup, and that's just what the retro game stores around me have done. And so for that reason, I was finally able to go out retro game shopping again. And yeah, I think this time I did pretty good today. I got 9 games, and there's also gonna be an extra surprise at the very end. I got 3 PlayStation 1 games, 3 PS2 games, 3 Xbox games, and 1 special surprise I'm saving for the end. So basically from here on out, whenever I go out retro game shopping, I'll make a video sharing what games I got that day. So this is the first one. Today is Saturday, April 25th. So yeah, let's get started with our 3 PlayStation 1 games. Start off with one that I did not expect at all whatsoever. The Land Before Time: Return to the Great Valley. Yeah, I honestly never would have thought there would be games based on The Land Before Time, but there's not just this one, there's other ones. There's like about 20 of them, and half of them are educational PC games for little kids, and, so not exactly games I'd be into, but there's also quite a few of them out there on the PlayStation 1, Game Boy Advance, and Game Boy Color, too, from back in the day. But this came out around 2000, around the time that the kids to adults rating still existed. This one's got the rated E, the E rating on it, and it claims to have like 3 levels of difficulty for players of all ages. So maybe this one might be a little more appealing to someone my age, but either way, I loved these movies growing up as a kid. So nevertheless, having these in my collection was a must. So regardless of however good the game might be or enjoyable, I guess, for an adult like myself. But anyways, next up we have a video game based off the second Rugrats movie, Rugrats and Parrots. The movie, the video game. Not much more to say about that. Most of you heard of it. If you heard of the Rugrats, you probably heard of the movies. And then we have our third PlayStation 1 game, Stuart Little 2. Now, the only game based off of the first Stuart Little movie was on the Game Boy Color. So I think this is the only console Stuart Little game. Besides, well, actually, there was one called Stuart Little 3 on the PlayStation 2. Even though it wasn't even based off of the third Stuart Little movie, it had a completely different story, I guess, or something. I don't know. But either way, from what I can tell, I'm hoping this will actually be good, considering it's got the greatest hits thing on it. So it should be good, but we'll see. We shall see. All right, so moving on to PS2 games, I got Avatar: The Last Airbender. There were 3 games based off the Avatar: The Last Airbender series, and this is the first one, but there were 2 sequels also. That's the first one. And I think all of them came out around the time of the Wii came out, so I don't think there were any on the GameCube. They were just on the Wii and PS2 and Xbox or Xbox 360. Blah. Sorry about that. Like I was saying, I guess there were most of them were on the Xbox 360, PS2, and Wii. So, but at least got the first one now on the PS2, so I can say that. Next up, we have Lemony Snicket's: A Series of Unfortunate Events. This is based off the movie, not the books. And a lot of people are not a big fan of the movie, but honestly, personally for me, Jim Carrey as Count Olaf is what makes this movie for me. Say what you will about the movie, but Jim Carrey puts up an excellent performance as Count Olaf, so for me, that makes up for any of the flaws the movie had going for it. And next up is kind of disappointing because I actually got this one without the case or the booklet, but you know what? Honestly, I was willing to go for it because of the game itself. This is, if I can get it open, Maximo Ghosts to Glory. This is actually part of the Ghosts and Goblins franchise, believe it or not. It's got a lot of the music and a lot of the gameplay style is very reminiscent of those Ghosts and Goblins game, of the Ghosts and Goblins game on the NES and Super Ghosts and Ghosts on the Super Nintendo. But the main reason I really wanted to get this game is because I actually have faint memories of actually being in a household that had this game. I don't think I ever actually had the game in my own household, but back when I was in elementary school, I was in daycare, and the house that I stayed at during daycare actually happened to own this game. And I have faint, very, very faint memories of gameplay of this game, and I could not, for the longest time, after all this time, I didn't know what game it was until I finally found it. I don't know how I found it, but I just happened to see gameplay of it on YouTube, and it all came back to me. I was like, oh, this is the game. And it's part of the Ghosts and Goblins franchise, too. That's insane. From what I've heard, this is a really good game, though. If not very difficult, but still really good. Next up, we have the 3 Xbox games I picked up, and one of them, of course, is Shark Tale. Just because I own the GameCube and PS2 versions already. Again, I haven't played this yet, but the movie itself isn't that good, so I don't know what to think of the game. You know, if that means they'll balance out to be a good game or what. But next up, we have on the Platinum Hits, Simpsons Road Rage. From what I heard, this is as mediocre as they get, and it's just a bare bones copy of Crazy Taxi, basically. Essentially, the gameplay is exactly Crazy Taxi, but with Simpsons characters, and the graphics don't really look that interesting for an Xbox game, even for an early one. Like, I've seen way better, even from that time. Next up, we have another game that's missing the case and manual, but once again, honestly, it was worth it for me because it's a Spyro game. It's Spyro, A Hero's Tale, a drastic improvement over Enter the Dragonfly, and it was also the first game on the Xbox, or first Spyro game on the Xbox, but it's still, from what I heard, even though it's a drastic improvement over over Enter the Dragonfly, it's still, like, it didn't get really strong reviews because it's just so much been there, done that with the Spyro franchise. It was the 5th game in the 5th console Spyro game. At this point, they were just rehashing the same gameplay over and over again, so for that reason, it didn't get really strong reviews. So that's basically all I have, except for one little surprise I've been saving for the very end. This is the main star of the show, basically, for today. What I have is a brand new mint copy of Virtual Boy Wario Land. Yeah. Now, up until, like, for those of you who don't know, I actually own a Virtual Boy. I actually showed it off in the main video game collection video where I showed off my consoles and my collection's like overall. I showed that I had a Virtual Boy and that I had Mario's Tennis as the only game for, which was the pack-in title. So that's obviously the easiest Virtual Boy game to get a hold of, but this is actually a mint copy of Wario Land. This game came out in 1995, and it's even still got, like, the hanger on it, too. This is how you would have found it back in, like, stores back in the day, Walmart or Toys R Us or whatever. This is how the game would have been on the shelf. So to be holding something like that from 1995, 25 years later, is just insane. And the Virtual Boy came out around the time I was born, too. So this thing is just about as old as me, basically. Like, it's literally as old as me. That's insane. This is what was out at the time that I was born. It's so crazy to think that. And from what I've heard, Virtual Boy Wario Land is the best game on the Virtual Boy, which is sad because it's on a system that you can only play like up to 30 minutes a year at best. But nevertheless, if I ever do a Let's Play of a Virtual Boy game, it'll definitely be this one. But it would be on an emulator with black and white graphics, because I cannot possibly see myself playing this game in full on the Virtual Boy itself. Nevertheless, I will be opening this and I will be trying it out on my Virtual Boy, because in my honest opinion as a collector, there's no sense in collecting a game if you're not going to play it, if you're only going to look at it. That to me kind of takes away some of the value of purchasing it if you're just going to look at it. But nevertheless, I will keep the box. But this shrink wrap is going to go, though, unfortunately. I'm going to be opening a relic of the past, and making it probably significantly less valuable in that regard, but nevertheless, it's still in the box, so it's still very valuable, just not as valuable as a mint copy per se. But that's basically all I have for today, folks. I don't plan on doing a lot of retro game shopping for the next month or so. I'm still going to be saving up money amidst all this pandemic stuff going on. And, it's just not as appealing to me to go, to do a curbside pickup as it is just walk into the store and look around before I, and actually buy stuff. Because if it weren't for that, I probably wouldn't have gone, Spyro Hero's Tale or Maximo if I had just seen them in the store, like in the case, like in a generic case with no art or anything. I probably wouldn't have bought that if that weren't the case. But nevertheless, I'm happy to own those games, and someday I will get like actual cover art for them, or maybe just buy the games again or whatever it takes to get the cover art. But nevertheless, it's good to say that I own these games, and it's really cool to be having this too. But that's all I have for today, folks. I will see you guys in my next collection video, or if you want to catch on my live streams, or hopefully upcoming live streams. And upcoming Let's Plays as well on my Multiclass Gamer channel. So see you guys later. Bye.